So this is our deck dinner of April the 15th, 2018. And this morning we listened to the Everyday Gourmet Essential Secrets of Spices and Cooking by The Great Courses with Bill Rywa. It was excellent. I didn't make food that was like from here or anything. Because I'd already made this. Anyway, I think it's a little bit colder than I thought. I'm going to put on a sweater. So we're having a deck dinner recording. And there we go. That's going to be okay. Okay, I'll show you what we're eating. You're fine. My mother is not used to living with dogs. Anyway, this is what my mom will be eating today. It's a stir fry I made with sprouted chickpeas, some corn, water chestnuts, which I peeled myself, and there's bamboo shoot there, you can see, a great big one, and some peas, and I don't know what else I put in there. Oh, a couple different kinds of Asian Chinese cabbage. One was baby bok choy, and the other one looked similar, but it was a medium kind of green throughout, and it didn't look the same. So anyway, I'm giving her some sauerkraut on the side because I don't know if she'll be up for kimchi. And I drizzled tahini on top of it, and it's served on a bed of spaghetti squash. And for dessert, she's having half of a dragon fruit with some raspberries. And we're drinking water, and I'm eating an orange for dessert, and that's mine. So mine's exactly the same, only I'm having kimchi. So we'll see how that is. And I don't know if she's coming back. She left probably to take hairs off of her clothes or something, because she can't handle living with dogs. But she's busy. So that's nice. I got to clean the house, because she would have been horrified if I hadn't. So anyway, let's see how this kimchi is, because I made this kimchi with just a regular green cabbage, I think. Still yum. What I love. It's a good bite. I love kimchi. Super hot though. Well, I mean, I make it myself, so I wouldn't necessarily have to make it hot, but I like it hot, so I make it hot. Good. Good heat. I put loads and loads of ginger in this stir fry. I didn't put that much garlic. Yeah, it already got my nose running, all the kimchi. Oh, and I also put shiitake mushrooms in stir fry, but my mom does not like mushrooms, so she doesn't get hers with shiitake mushrooms, because she would not have enjoyed that.
Oh, there's mushrooms on.
No, there's not.
No.
See, she knows. She knows I like mushrooms, so there's mushrooms on mine, no mushrooms on hers. Sauerkraut? What do you think?
Pepper salt.
Yep. Sour.
It's very cold out here. The extra layers
Well.
not helping.
Yeah, this sweater helps, but as you probably know, we've been having deck dinners all winter, so
I did know. But I anticipated it was warmer.
no. It's a pretty warm day. Sorry I didn't cut up your bamboo shoot.
Oh, is that what that is?
Uh-huh.
I thought it was one huge parsnip.
You know, this was the first time that I got bamboo shoots where they were
Whole?
yeah. And this was just so beautiful. I couldn't cut it up. I looked at them and I'm like, okay, it's just gonna go in like that because I didn't want to ruin them. They looked like, well, they look kind of like artwork somehow.
Oh, I didn't realize they had these hollow pieces in the middle.
It's a learning experience for us. So what did you think about that great course we watched this morning, Mom? The cooking.
Well, he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
But he did a lot of things that they shouldn't do on a cooking show. Like cutting without a mesh glove. Mixing food without plastic gloves on his hands. Without washing his hands first.
Oh, I'm sure his hands.
I'm sure they were, but I am quite often surprised by things like that they do on a cooking show that is so not food safe.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, I was surprised by a few things, like when he put the spice on the plate and to put into the spice grinder. That was silly.
Yeah.
And sometimes he moved things to like a different container, and it didn't really make sense.
Makes sense to go there. He wasn't bad.
You know, like he cooked with a lot of meat, but
So do most people. So that's
yeah. So most people would like that, and honestly, in every single dish that he made, I would like to make a variation of it.
Mm-hmm.
All of his food looked
Appetizing.
yeah. And I'm definitely going to watch it again, and I'm going to try to make, especially the Middle Eastern stuff that he was making, because I really
it's something that you haven't made.
no, I haven't. I don't have very much experience. Like the Indian food, I'm pretty good at. And oh, this stir fry, by the way, contains no oil. I fried it in broth.
You boiled it.
More like steam. And then I just drizzled I put a sauce in there at the end to thicken the broth that was left over. So I did use like a bit of cornstarch in in cold water and added it to thicken it, and I put some other things in there, but no oils. And then the only fat that we had on this was from the tahini dribbled on at the end, and that does add a significant amount of calories.
And this is this stuff?
Yeah. So that's sesame, kind of like a sesame butter, right?
Yeah.
And so it's about, I think if I remember correctly, It's 210 calories per 2 tablespoons.
Okay, so I've had it sufficient for the entire day already.
Yeah, you're pretty good. But people often, if you drizzle it on that way, you're going to pay attention to how much fat you're eating. Whereas if you're just frying in, say, some coconut oil or whatever, which I would have used had I decided not to. Like if I didn't use the broth, I would have used coconut oil. And you just don't pay attention to it. It's like it's an invisible amount of calories that you don't even acknowledge.
You don't measure.
Yeah. So when you're adding up your calories, you probably wouldn't think of, oh, how much of that coconut oil did I use? And you might underestimate it, and it really pounds on the calories for just a little bit, right? So even with this, like the tahini,
1 tablespoon of brie is a lot of butter. Way more than. Oh, 2 tablespoons being that much calories. The entire plate should have been
not much.
1/3 the size.
Well, if you like. I mean, you don't have to eat everything. That's what I serve. Like a lot of the time, I'll make a meal like this, and James will eat maybe a quarter of it now and then go back to it later, you know?
Yeah.
It's just whatever you want to eat. If some days he might come in and he's really hungry for calories, you know, and then he'll eat more of it. But I just set it up and you eat what you're comfortable eating. And, you know, it's really hard to eat bamboo shoots without cutting them up. I really should have brought us knives out here.
It peels quite well if you use your fingers. You haven't been watching?
No, I haven't watched you.
You just take a chunk and peel it back, and then you just peel down.
Oh, yeah, that works out really nicely. Okay.
You do have to eat with your fingers. So did you use some of those beans that were sprouted? Lentils?
Nope. Not for this one. I used sprouted chickpea. That's what that is. No, in the colander I have sprouted lentils going on, but we're going to do something different with those tomorrow. But yeah, I don't think I've ever cooked with harissa, and that was the one with the sumac in it, right?
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to.
I wonder why he could have expanded on that. Don't pick the stuff in your backyard.
You said that.
Yeah, but he didn't say it was poisonous or why.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, he did? Because I know it's called sumac.
So, I just know it is sumac, but anyway. No, I wondered if I could. Honestly, I thought about it. I'm like, But I wondered, well, is it the same? Sometimes plants, they'll call them, like say a green ash and a mountain ash. Well, they're not related at all.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, different things. Like some things can be somewhat related, and still they're completely different. Yeah.
Like the tomato and the potato. The tomato grows nothing underneath.
I can do. But that's all right. So that's your dessert.
So how come I get 3 times the dessert as well?
I don't know. This is what I do to James too.
3 times the food and 3 times the dessert. I'm half your size. Okay, maybe not half. I'm definitely not anymore.
Well, there's hardly, when you eat dessert like this, there's hardly any calories to it, really. And sure, you're getting the sugars in the fruit, but you're also getting all the fiber from the fruit. And the fiber helps slow absorption of the sugar, so you're not getting the insulin response.
Doesn't that depend on the fruit?
Well, I say to be careful with the tropical fruits a little more, but you're not going to have any problem with that. Wow, that's delicious. So that was our dinner. And you don't want any dessert? Not right now. You're gonna sit on
I'm
that
good.
for a while. Okay.